You know what's funny? Most people don't even realize that the bank is making more money out of their confusion. Like every time you sign on that loan or when you deposit cash on your savings account, you're basically saying, here, take a slice of my future. So today, we are fixing that. I'll be breaking down interest, simple, compound, fixed, variable, in a simple way that even a school dropout can flex about it after this video. You'll never look at a bank statement the same way again. Hi, I'm Miss Muithathi. I'm a creator, an entrepreneur, and a mom. What most people don't see is that behind every video that I make, I'm also fighting to keep my daughter's medication covered. Okay? Her meds are a non-negotiable expense that eats most of what I earn. But I refuse to quit building, creating, and showing up where I need to show up. So, if my content has ever given you value, whether it made you laugh, think, or simply inspired you to make a move, consider buying me coffee. Every single coffee goes directly to keeping her treatment consistent and, of course, helps keep this channel stay alive. Thank you so much for standing with us, because every drop of support counts more than you know. All right, let's talk money. Stay with me. First of all, what is interest? Interest is basically the rent of money. Okay? If you borrow it, you pay rent. If you lend it, you earn rent. That's all it is. Okay? So for example, when you take a loan, you are renting someone else's money. When you save or invest, you are renting out your money. The problem? Most people forget that rent collects, whether you're the tenant or the landlord. So the question is, are you paying rent or collecting it? That's interest. Now, let's start with simple interest. That's the basic one. It's called simple because it doesn't do math gymnastics. It's calculated on the original amount, what we call the principal amount. So, nothing fancy and no sneaky extras. Here's a simple formula. Don't panic. Okay. Interest equals principal times rate times time. So for example, let's say you invest $1,000. That's about 130,000 Kenya shillings at 5% per year for 3 years. This is an example. So year one, 5% of 1,000 equals $50. Okay. Year two, another $50. And year three, another $50. So your total interest is $150. Okay, $50 times 3. So it means the total value of the $1,000 that you borrowed will be $1,000 that you borrowed plus $150 on top as interest. Okay, total $1,150. That's it. Clean, predictable. It's like lending your cousin money and knowing exactly what you'll get back. No surprises. Now, compound interest. This one is the game changer. It's called interest on interest. You earn interest not just on the money you started with, but also on the interest that money already earned. Basically, in a layman's language, your money has babies, and those babies start having babies. For example, the same $1,000 at 5%. But this time it compounds annually for 3 years. Year one, $1,000 equals $50 in interest, right? So the new total equals $1,050. Year two, it's that $1,050 times another 0.5, which equals to $52.50, okay? Bringing the new total to $1,102.50. Year three, $1,102.50 times 0.05, which brings $55.13, bringing the new total to $1,157.63. So you earned $7.63 more than the simple version without you lifting a finger. That's how wealthy quietly multiplies while you're busy out here scrolling through TikTok. Compound interest is the best. Better learn how to use it. Compound interest really matters. And this is because when you look at the rich, they don't work harder, they work longer. And this is because they understand time is their best employee. Compound interest feeds on time. The longer you leave it, the more it grows. Like mold in a corner, but of course, the good kind. And that's why if you start saving or investing early, your money snowballs. But if you keep delaying, if you keep postponing, the snow melts before it starts rolling. So every time you say, I'll start next year, you're basically burning your future interest babies. So that's the importance of compound interest. Now, let's talk about how these rates behave, which brings us to fixed and variable interest. Fixed interest, simple. It never changes. As the name described, it's fixed. If your loan is at 10%, it stays at 10%. Well, it's good for peace of mind, but bad if the market drops and everyone else pays less. Now, let's talk about the variable interest. And just like the word, it varies, okay? Varies, whatever. English is not my mother tongue. It came by boat, so allow me. Variable interest, on the other hand, changes with the market. It can start low, sweet deal, then rise out of the blues when you least expect it. More like that friend of yours who starts nice, then borrows your clothes and never returns them. It's more common in things like credit cards and adjustable loans. Basically, anything that makes you sign twice for your safety. So, my dear, if you hate surprises, go for fixed, okay? But on the other hand, because we are all different, if you like gambling with blood pressure, go variable, okay? Now, let's touch where the banks get cheeky. You'll hear APR or APY being thrown around like confetti. APR means annual percentage rate, the true cost of borrowing. It includes the interest rates plus fees. So a loan might say 5% interest, but the APR is 5.25% interest after fees. That's what you should actually compare when shopping for loans. APY, on the other hand, means annual percentage yield, the true return on your savings. It also includes the effects of compounding. So if your account says 5% interest, the APY could be 5.12%. So, here's the trick. APR tells you how much you lose when you borrow. APY tells you how much you gain when you save. The banks, on the other hand, will only show you whichever one makes them look better. So you better watch closely. APY and APR, they are the sneaky twins. Now, even within compound interest, there's a sneaky detail. Yeah, how often it compounds. It could be annually, monthly, daily, and the more frequent the compounding, the more your money earns. For example, the same 130,000 Kenya shillings in dollars, that's $1,000 at 5% for 1 year. Annual compounding makes it $1,050. Monthly compounding makes it $1,051.16. Daily compounding makes it $1,051.27. Tiny difference, right? But try and stretch that for over 30 years. That's the difference between early retirement and still working for exposure. So the earlier and the more frequent that your money compounds, the more peace your future self will have. So it really depends on how often it grows. Think of compound interest like growing a mango tree. Simple interest gives you mangoes, right? But you eat them and that's it. Compound interest, on the other hand, you plant one mango seed, it gives you fruit, and those fruits give you more seed. And before you know it, you have a whole farm. Same seed, different mindset. So when you understand compound interest, you, my dear, stop chasing quick money. You start building money that multiplies, even when you're asleep or on bad days, like when you're depressed. Now, let's recap so your brain doesn't tap out. Simple interest, only on the original amount. Easy math, small growth. Compound interest, interest on interest, the rich person's quiet weapon. Fixed rate, stable and predictable. Variable rate, risky but can reward. APR, true cost of borrowing, and APY, true return on saving. Compounding frequency, this means the more often it compounds, the faster it grows. So the real question here isn't whether interest is good or bad. It's whether you're on the paying side or on the earning side. Okay? All right, people, here is your challenge this week. Look at every loan, every saving, that MMF account that you have, and check whether it earns simple or compound interest. So, if it's simple, ask yourself if that's really helping your long-term goals. And if you're drowning in debt, remember, the same compound interest magic is working against you. Okay? It works both ways. On the negative, it multiplies it. On the negative, it does the same. Okay? It's why debt snowballs. Here's what I need you to know. You see interest, it doesn't give a damn who you are. It doesn't care who you are. It only cares about direction. So, choose your side wisely. If you learned something today, like, share, and subscribe, because we're building a generation that doesn't get played by banks. And if you'd really love to support what I do, the Buy Me a Coffee link is below. It helps me stay consistent, teaching people about financial truths. Anyways, stay grounded, stay building. And remember, money may be cold, but your mindset decides who freezes first. See you in my next video.